Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's UTMB recap time. But before we get into it, I just want to say a quick sorry for the time it's taken to get this video out there. I know a lot of you guys followed my training all the way in. It's just taking a bit of time to process all my thoughts and get everything down. I did put a lot of stuff on Strava, but they've got a whole community here on YouTube. So yeah, firstly, apologize for the time it's taken. But the video is here now. We'll go through exactly what happened on the day, and my thoughts on after it, what we need to be doing different, and some changes here on the channel as well going forward. So in case you didn't hear the result, I basically got timed out 50k into the race, and it was completely humiliating and devastating after everything we put into the build-up going into the race. The whole sort of build-up went fairly well. I mean, clearly there's not enough training to perform how I want to perform in races like this. I focus a lot on my nutrition because I knew that really is my Achilles heel in a lot of these things, and that was generally going okay. And the goal was, yeah, just to get around about 40 hours, make an epic video and show everybody just how beautiful and amazing the event like the UTMB is. But in the day before and during race day, something just wasn't quite right. I just wasn't feeling quite right in myself. Standing on the start line, I was just had head to toe in everything I did on all those training runs that you saw, the exact same nutrition, the same clothing, the same absolutely everything. And we set off and I just had very little energy. The start of the race is all pretty flat. I've run it many tens of times in training, spending time out in Chamonix, and I was just putting in a lot of extra effort for the pace that I was going. By the time we got to Les Houches, I filled up my bottles and then set up on that first climb, and I was just being passed left and right and just was running on about 50% power, just really not feeling myself. I know how I should be feeling in instances like this, but it was just a bit rubbish. And by the time we got down to the first aid station, I went through pretty quickly, took a lot of extra calories on board and just think, yeah, it's just a bit of a funny patch. Let's power on through. And then by the time I got to, I think it was about mile 20, there's a big aid station. My crew met me there, got on board a lot of hot food that I've been taking in training. And by the time I left there, it was about 30 minutes before the cutoff. And I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I've done this run so many times. Why am I feeling so rubbish? Then by the time I pushed on and got to a place called La Balme, got there completely drained, was feeling a little bit dizzy, but I was like, I've got to get some calories in. So I got some soup, got that down with some pasta, and then about 2 minutes later, I saw all of that soup spewing out my mouth, all over everywhere in that aid station. So that was pretty rubbish. Took about 5 minutes to gather myself together again, got some more calories down that luckily didn't come back up. Got through there, I left there with about 5 minutes to go before the cutoff, and basically just trudged on for about another 10k up this mountain, down the mountain, and by the time I got there, I was timed out. And yeah, just felt absolutely pants, just sitting there, just thinking, how has this race gone so spectacularly wrong? So what could have happened? Well, that's what I've been trying to work out for the past few weeks. It could be potentially a fructose issue with some of the fruit juice I was having. No issues with that in training, never that, but it means your body sort of can't take on the amount of carbs it's needing. Clearly could be an anxiety issue, something like that. This race means a hell of a lot to me. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. I've dealt with that pretty well in the past, but clearly that could have completely messed up my insides. But apart from vomiting and going to the loo just once, which was pretty regular, yeah, my body was just feeling just like it was just had no energy whatsoever. Potentially I was just sick and didn't really know it. A few people we met in the build-up have since had COVID. I don't know if that was the issue. I haven't really thought about it until I heard people like in the week later that had it. And obviously there's the issue with I'm just not mentally strong enough to be doing this race. I've had a lot of mental health issues in the past few years. And yeah, my head is probably just not there to do this type of thing. But I felt really strong mentally going in. So I'm just not really sure. I never really know exactly what the issue was there. Also, my training was just simply not good enough. There's just not enough of it. There's probably enough there just to maybe complete the race, which is what I was kind of going for. But that just makes me really just sort of a bit sad and feel a bit rubbish about the whole thing. I shouldn't be doing these races to try and complete them. I should be doing them to perform at my very best. We'll come on to this in a lot of the changes because I need to make a decision to be running trails or running road. You just can't be doing both. And it's this sort of grey area of failing at both things at the moment. And fundamentally there, that topic there of just not focusing on one thing in particular, trying to do a little bit of everything is just not working in races like this. But my background is clearly on the roads. It's where I perform the best. It's where I enjoy it the most. And ultimately, if someone could say I could run a new PB or say do UTMB in sub 30 hours, I would be running a marathon PB 99 times out of 100. That is where my passion lies, and that is really where I want to get back to. So I'm definitely not going to give up on the UTMB dream, but that dream will be parked just for the time being. I fundamentally need to look at how I'm doing everything with ultras, and for the rest of this year and next year they will be on pause. Yes, there will clearly be some shorter races in the mix there to build up my confidence to get that back to where it needs to be. So by the time we get back onto the start line of UTMB, maybe 2025, 2026, something like that, it'll just be like, it's just another race and we'll just go out and have some fun, rather than this massive pressure that UTMB is putting on me at the moment, just causing my body, unfortunately, just to not perform how it does in training. Because in training it goes generally very, very well, but race day is when it matters, and that's what all of you guys want to see, what happens on race day. That's when the pressure's on, and it's when you need to deliver, and it's just not letting me do that right now. So for the rest of this year, next year, my focus will be on the roads. We'll be doing Chicago, New York, goal race of Valencia. Chicago, New York will be long training runs with the GoPro, showing everybody what those races are and getting back to how we built this channel with those early amazing videos that I'm so proud of running marathons very fast with my GoPro. Valencia will be a big goal race at the end of the year. We're going to go back to Comrades. Yeah, nice road running. It's where I'm going to be able to perform my very best at. And then once I've got all of this marathon stuff out of my system, once I've hopefully ran a new marathon PB, then we can sit down and have a chat about a dedicated year-long project of getting very good on the trails. I've got many years for that in the future, with the sort of the goal to getting back to UTMB. But I can't do both because I'm just not training for marathons how I want to train for marathons. I'm not training for ultras how I want to train for ultras. So I've got to make a decision about where we're going with that. I know I do touch a little bit on my mental health. And yes, from when I've run 100-mile races and ultras and done quite well in some ultras in the past as well, my mental health now is unfortunately nowhere near as good as it was back then. I'm starting to learn a lot more about how my head operates. I've always thought in my head I'm autistic and I've got ADHD sort of issues as well. So I'm going to have those properly tested to get a proper diagnosis, and then speak to some therapists and try and build up with these issues that I have in my life. I don't feel like it impacts the shorter road racing stuff as much, anywhere near as much as it does have an impact on these very long races when you're out there for such a long period of time. But yeah, I don't know. It's something I'm working on. So overall, yeah, incredibly embarrassing, distraught, whatever words you want to use. I'm not really in a good place about the whole thing. But that's it. You get out what you put in with running, and I didn't put anywhere near as much effort and time and dedication to get round to UTMB and perform how I want to perform. But first, I want to concentrate on my marathons and just dedicate a proper training block, which is what we're doing now, building up for Valencia. And touch wood, it's all going pretty well so far. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, finally, I'm just really sorry. I really was desperate to make a great UTMB video to show everybody what it was all about. That will come. It's just going to have to wait for a few years. For now, we'll be concentrating on getting the GoPro back out and having some fun on the roads and going just very much back to basics, doing sessions out in Millwall Park, just outside here, doing sessions along the river, and yeah, just keeping things nice and local, which is what I used to be doing 3 or 4 years ago, and just getting those basics, those fundamentals right, and start really enjoying my running again and creating some great content for you guys. Yeah, we've had a long sit down about whether we want to carry on doing this at all, and fundamentally, of course we do. I just need to get my head sorted, get my training sorted, make a plan and stick to it for what we want to be doing. And right now, that's Valencia Marathon. Many congratulations if you got round at UTMB. I'd love to hear your stories. Well done also if you ran Berlin Marathon today. Let us know how you got on in the comments. That's it, guys. Finally, lots of love to all of you guys out there supporting what we do. I can't thank you enough. For allowing all of this to happen. Wishing you all the very best with your running. Keep on working hard. Keep on getting done. We'll see you very soon in the next one.